Ćao! Dobrodošli u još jednu epizodu Instant Coin podcasta u kome pokušavamo da odgonetimo šta je sve potrebno da se video igra napravi, objavi i da postane uspešna. Pratite nas na našem YouTube kanalu, pratite nas na audio platformama. Sad smo upravo završili upload svih epizoda na audio platforme, tako da bukvalno od prve do najnovije epizode možete da vidite i da slušate preko Spotify-a, podcast.rs platforme, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, gde god da slušate podcaste realno. Pratite nas i na našem Instagramu, Facebooku, LinkedInu, svi linkovi se naravno nalaze u opisu ove epizode, a ako želite da podržite podcast, to možete da uradite jednokratnim uplatama putem PayPala ili mesečnom pretplatom preko Patreon platforme, zaista svaka podrška nam mnogo znači. Sa nama su tu i naši partneri, standardno na prvom mestu Dogma sa svojim fantastičnim hoptopod pivom, u pitanju IPA, 6,5% alkohola, voćkasta aroma. Bacite pogled na njihov asortiman piva u njihovom tap roomu u Radničkoj ulici ili pogledajte na njihovom webu i poručite nešto odatle. Tu je sa nama i dečko Car, carski brend, ekipa braće Burazeri koja stoji za fantastičnog dizajna majici i drugih artikala garderobe. Za sve slušalce ovog podcasta, dečko Car je obezbedio 10% popusta za prvu online kupovinu uz promo kod InsertCoin10. Naravno, link i sam kod nalaze se isto u opisu epizode. Tu je i Nitea, kompanija koja u Srbiji radi sa Herman Miller brendom genijalnih kancelarijskih stolica koje su vrhunac industrijskog dizajna i ergonomskog sedenja. Mi danas sedimo na Aeron modelu Herman Millera, to je legendarni model koji se nalazi manje više u svakom muzičkom studiju i u drugim, recimo, game dev studijima, takođe je vrlo zastupljen model, tako da bacite pogled na tea.rs, čuvajte leđa, posebno ako dugo sedite za računarom, igrate igre, pravite igre, crtate ili bilo šta drugo. Tu je Play Studios Europe, kompanija koja u svom portfoliju ima jednu od najpoznatijih franšiza iz sveta igara, u pitanju je Tetris, naravno oni imaju veliki broj igara za mobilne platforme sa fantastičnim dizajnom i super zaraznim grafikama. Veliki pozdrav za Play Studios, jer bez njihove pomoći ne bismo otišli na reboot prošle godine u Dubrovnik, tako da veliki pozdrav i hvala još jednom. I tu je Art Bully Productions, kompanija koja u Srbiji postoji već neko vreme, a bavi se izradom 3D aseta za video igre. Oni su se vremenom profilisali za rad na AAA igrama, radili su konkretno, jedan od skorijih projekata je bio Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, a radili su isto i 3D asete na igri Scorn, koja dolazi iz beogradskog studija Ep Software. Pored ovog posla, Art Bully se bavi i edukacijom, oni su otvorili svoj Art Bully trening centar, mesto na kojem možete da naučite sve o pravljenju 3D aseta za igre, bukvalno bez ikakvog predznanja ili poznavanja alata i rada sa 3D programima i samim asetima, gde učite bukvalno od nule kako se koristi Maja, kako se jedan 3D model pravi, modeluje i priprema za ubacivanje u engine i dobijate na kraju gotov aset koji se koristi u igri. Veliki pozdrav za Art Bully, hvala još jednom na podršci, bacite pogled na njihov website, naravno linkovi su u opisu epizode. Uživajte! Sa nama je danas Dmitry Beley, čovek kog sam upoznao na White Nights konferenciji koja se desila relativno skoro u Beogradu. Dmitry radi na svojoj igri, u pitanju je akciona RPG avantura pod nazivom Drake. Pošto Dmitry dolazi originalno iz Rusije, ova epizoda će biti na engleskom jeziku, tako da nadam se da to nije veliki problem. Hi.
Zdravo.
Hi. Hi Dmitry, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's real pleasure. We met on White Nights conference in Belgrade a couple of days ago. I saw your game called Drake, action RPG. The game looks great. It also looks a little bit like something that I would like to create for my game. some sort of stylization. I really loved it. It's an action RPG. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about Drake.
Actually, when you told me a little bit about your game, I think that we are competitors. Actually,
that's great.
Yeah. And I love to meet the people who shares the same ideas. So the game, it's more, I'm a big fan of sci-fi. So I want to create this sci-fi universe and a game in it. So just like a Kickstarter to the whole universe
Cool.
that we want to create, and we want to, I'm a story person, so I want to bring a great story with very decent gameplay. How it's the right word?
Yeah, it's a,
With a great gameplay,
Yeah.
yes. And we want to mix some genres, like story-driven genres, like very story-heavy games like Fallout, like Divinity, and so on, with choices, dialogues, characters, and mixed it with really action dynamic from top-down shooters, like isometric shooters like Ruiner, The Ascent, the game.
The Ascent, yeah.
This is our pet project
Of course.
that we are working on our free time, and we are very far from releasing it, in the middle of pre-production, and that's it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, the game has a really decent dynamic, because the demo that you showed on White Knight's conference, you act as a guy that enters a facility and you sneak around, and then a lot of alien bugs start coming at you, and you have waves of enemies that you have to survive. And the game is not easy. I've tried it, but it's you stroke a pretty decent balance for a demo where the game is not too easy. It poses a challenge, and if you remember, as I told you, I think that game is like ready for early access or something, because if you just add leaderboards, you can put it out there for people to try to make the high score, how many waves of enemies you can survive, because it's pretty challenging after a couple of levels.
Actually, it's two separate modes in the game right now.
Sorry, just pull the microphone a little bit.
It has two different modes in the game right now. So first mode is what we are going to do. So it's like story with action. And in it you have very short combat engage. So just to sneak.
Okay.
Just as like a sneak peek to what are going to be.
Okay.
And the second mode, it's like waves and survival mode, like that, just to try the combat system that game provide you. So we use this second mode as a playground for us to test the combat system, to improve it, to try, and so on. So it's challenging because we want to try different ways of how we can evolve this combat system. So something like that. And we so it's not so much content in the demo right now. It is like 20 minutes maybe to try it all.
Yeah, that's for the story part.
For the story and for the waves, they are infinite, but after 5 minutes your hands are shaking because it's very intense. But no more than that, because it's repeating itself. So for the full product, we need more content, more enemies, more mechanics, and so on.
And the story.
And yes. The story actually pretty. The story done better than the other parts, because the story started long ago, and after the levels on the story part, we have some map where you can move on this map, and then you have the sheets of text what what you can await on this level. So like that. So it's like concept description of the level.
Okay. So that will be in the final game, for example.
Yes, it will be in final game as a level, but right now it's a concept story. So you just read what you're going to experience.
Okay. Cool.
So
it's not an open world.
It's not it's not an open world. We use a big map actually that seems to be open world, but we force a player to move from left to right, and the story progresses linearly, but with different branches. So you move from one point to another, meet different factions, make choices. Then when you make a choice, you appeal more to a certain faction, and you choose the way where this faction tells you to go. Yeah. So you go to the next point on the map. Then you have another story. Next story.
The next
the continuation.
Story,
yes. Then you resolve the conflict on this level, and you have another choice on what side.
So then you choose between two new levels, and you can choose only one.
Yeah, yes.
And can you later on get back to the one?
No. Because
the choices matter basically.
Yes. And your character is. We have a story instrument to push the player forward. So it's like the pursue that follows the main character, and you should run away from it. So something like that.
Cool. Okay. And are there any NPCs or stuff like that that you can interact with?
Yes, of course. Like a big RPGs, you have different NPCs. You have hubs, like towns, when you can meet other characters, talk with them, doing some like quests, like gain some resources for your adventure, and then continue. So something like that. Yes.
Cool. Very nice. So, can you tell us a little bit about the world, the setting of the game?
It is not far away from our present days. It's like 300 years away. Okay. So the humanity find a way to reach other stars, but not with some fancy jump drives. They use big ships to travel to the other stars to make colonies. So this travel takes for them like 20 years or so. Instead of this fancy tech of jump drives, they invented techs that helps you to live longer. And the colonists, they have access to these technologies, and they can live something like 150, 200 years or so. Okay. So they travel 20 years. They start as 18 years childs. They teach on these ships. They learn some stuff.
They learn about the world.
Yes, about the world. They have universities on these ships, so they prepare themselves for this journey. They have kids that will be future livers on this planet, and so on. So it's a lot of preparation for them. Then they arrive to the new planet. They colonize it. They start to understand what resources it gets, what can they achieve from this planet, and so on. And this planet, it's called Drake.
The Drake is the name of the planet?
Yes, it's the name of the planet, and it's named after the
astrophysicist?
He was astronomer.
The Drake's equation.
Yes. And this is the main part of finding, life on the other stars, because in our world, people meet some alien species on other planets, but they are not have they not communicate. You know, it's like
No
animals.
interaction.
Yes, yes. It's like animals, like bugs, like other animals.
Non-intelligent.
Yes,
life forms.
non-intelligent species. Yes. And the big questions for the people when they find this intelligent life, and what will they do, because they, you know, it's a lot of preparations for them to colonize another planet, and what if they meet another alien.
Somebody they
Yes.
can talk to or wage war.
Yeah. And I don't want to dig deeper inside the story.
Yeah, of course.
But on this planet, they dig in for resources. And your character find an alien artifact that proves that there was life, or there may be life on this planet. So, and planetary administration and one specific person from this administration don't like that you discovered it, and he want to use these artifacts to gain more power, and that's why he starts to pursue you. And you try to understand what is the meaning of this artifact, what it do, and how to implement it, you know, for yourself, or maybe for other faction on the planet.
So you carry you as a character in the game, you carry that artifact.
Yes,
with
you carry this artifact, and you try to understand the meaning of it, or maybe how to
use it, or
how to use it, or how to escape from it.
Cool.
Because, you know, this artifact replace the part of your body,
Cool.
and you don't want to something on your arm, maybe alienish.
What you don't know what it is, basically.
Yes.
Cool. Nice. So there's like exploration, there's combat, there's like this story, that the mystery of the artifact,
the mystery,
and
of the
also
artifact.
the narrative behind the corporation that wants to administration basically to, or why they want the artifact, and why are you the one that's the thorn in their eye, basically.
Yes, and the conflict of long-living humans and short-living humans, like
two different species, basically.
They these planetary administration people, they long livers, maybe first colonists on this planet, and other workers that come to this planet to gain some resources, to maybe to raise themselves to this level of living. So it's a lot of conflicts in this world.
The factions, the corporate. A lot of similar stuff that my world has. I don't have any aliens, I don't have magic, it's just people and people. But I like the way you think about it.
And we don't want to use actually a lot of fancy technologies. It's like technologies that are available for us, like humans, because it's interesting to explore how human will behave on these different situations on other planets when they have. When
they had some time to live there, and how they will cope with living outside of our planet, and basically what the society will look like. That's the biggest question. We know the tech will be advanced or won't be that advanced, whatever, but
human will remain the same.
We're the same people, from the Stone Age to here.
And in this perspective, I very love Expanse series, because they doing a great job in progressing the story from this point.
The world building in that series is great. I really like it, but I didn't like the first 2 seasons. I watched first season and the second season and the half of the second season, and I just the world building was great. The Belters, the people on Mars, the Earth, and all those conflicts. But the production value of the TV show wasn't there for me. It was a sci-fi show when it started, and it was like it was the most expensive TV show they ever did, but still that doesn't provides much, because sci-fi is known for creating super low budget TV shows and not super low budgets in a good term. It's just they create shit TV shows.
I felt in love actually in first season because they use real space mechanics. And
the orbital mechanics and everything is great.
They use it in storytelling, and this.
The story the story is okay, but I just didn't like the technical
implementation
aspects of the implementation, the way the production values, the actors. It just broke immersion for me.
Okay.
So I never watched it after it went to Amazon. I don't know if they did anything good with it. I don't know. It still remains for me to see it. I really need to see it because I'm in that genre. But
I also in love with this character of Avasarala, this Indian.
The Indian woman. Yeah.
And she also the voice of the general from Mass Effect.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
and she has some this recognizable voice. And when I replayed Mass Effect after watching this series, it sounds familiar. Yeah. And I look at the actors who voice actors from Mass Effect, and I figure out that this is the same actor.
I didn't know that. Yeah, she's cool. She's really cool. Crazy. I never played Mass Effect after because I played Mass Effect a long time ago.
It was my how it is called, Gestalt. To close third Mass Effect because I played first two and never completed the third one. So
the third one's Andromeda or
no third one when the end game from this.
Yeah, I never played third. Also, I played first one, second one, completed them, played them a couple of times to explore some stuff, but never played the third one. I don't remember. I don't think so.
And one time I remember
I have to do it.
I remember that I didn't play the third one and replay the first two to complete my character and the story, and then complete the third one.
You did?
Yes, I completed.
Cool. I have it, I bought it, but I never got around to play it. Yeah, I should.
Third one, I dropped it one time because I don't was very fan from the technical part of it. So it has not so great combat, maybe. But then I jumped in again, focus on the story and complete it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love playing games on the hardest mode, not the ultimate hardest when if you die it's game over. I don't have that much time, but I love playing games on the hardest mode, and then if the game delivers on that hard mode, then it's really worth playing. Not to play it only for the story's sake, because that hard mode gives me more immersion into the world, because it's tough.
You suffer
over exactly.
Overcome
you have to apply all the abilities and the technology that you use in the game and stuff like that, so it really brings you that level of immersion that I like. But if the game doesn't deliver, if it's not engaging enough, then that immersion is broken. I'm actually don't love to be so hardcore in games, and I choose the easiest. But let me tell you, no game was made not to be finished.
Yes.
And if you start playing the game for the first time at the hardest settings, you don't know anything else.
Yep.
And then it becomes easy, especially in RPGs where you can do all the side content, then level up and then go to the main storyline, which then it's not that problem. Then you can enjoy the story. But that's for RPGs.
For The Witcher, I started it as easy level also, but then I switched to more hardcore because
blood and broken bones.
Because I was in love with their combat system and what you experience from it, and then
I played it on the hardest. There's one where you die. When the game over if you die. Znači, I think it was like Blood and Broken Bones. That was the name of that level of difficulty. It's just below that roguelike, basically. And that wasn't enough for me. I was then, as a level 5 Witcher, as a level 10 Witcher, I was hunting wyverns that were like level 15 or 16. Because it was interesting for me to see if I can do it, if the game allows me to, because if I made it, then I'll get a lot of experience points. And it's worth doing that kind of combat. And I was trying to fight the wyverns, and I managed to kill a wyvern that was like 5 or 6 levels above me.
They are very fun to fight, actually, and when you mentioned wyverns, I remember that this part of the game that catch me to the hard level. And mentioning Mass Effect, actually, if you go into Steam and type Drake RPG and go to Steam page, then scroll down to the similar games, Mass Effect will be on that list.
That's it. There you go.
So, and some players that tested the demo, they tells us that this is like Mass Effect with a top-down camera.
There you go. That's it. Perfect.
So,
perfect.
And it's very cool to receive such feedback for a game.
So it's on the Steam?
Yes.
Is anything playable?
Yes. The demo that I showed on White Nights, it's available on Steam.
Yeah. Okay. I'll download it again. It was pretty interesting. But is in the demo? It's not only the wave system.
No. Also the both. Both.
Okay. Oh damn.
For the wave system, we actually not updated this demo for a while, and it still has October event from Halloween. So these bugs that you will face, they look like a pumpkin.
Cool. Oh, I'll try that. Yeah, I'll try that. Nice.
So
So what are the reactions on Steam? It's like a demo. It's not early access, right?
It's just a demo, this short part that you can play for free. Reactions are pretty great. We have this form after the game, so you complete the game, and when you quit, it tells you just fill the form to rate the game, and we have different ratings for overall rating, like will you recommend to your friend, like visuals, audio, combat, and so on. And we gathered this information and collect it, and it's like 85% of these ratings are positive. So for demo, it's very cool.
That's great. How many players did play the demo?
It's 500 players played.
Cool. Nice.
And like 8,000 requested. Steam shows me two numbers. It's the players who requested the license for the game. You pull it to your library.
It's like a wish list.
No, not wish list, but it's info just for the demo. So you can press the button to download. And you can download it or to add to your library.
So 8,000.
Maybe. It's what the Steam shows.
8,000 people added it to the library, but only 500 played it.
Yes. So I don't know why this so big difference between those numbers.
Well, people browse, people click, people download.
Maybe because it's a free demo. I will.
I'll play it sometime. Play it.
I have maybe like 90% of my Steam library. It's the games I bought and never played. Actually,
exactly. But it's the same thing on the Epic Store.
Yes.
Whenever there's a free game, I will download it. I mean, I will not download it, but I will add it to my library, buy it for $0.
Yes.
But
never played.
It's like hundreds and hundreds of games. Those that I bought and those that I got for free. So and so 8,000 instances in libraries, 500 installs, 500
Players,
players,
yes.
and how many of those 500 answered the poll, the questionnaire?
It's like 10%, I think, of them.
Okay.
Like
That's
50,
decent.
50,
Yeah, that's-
50, 50 players.
Yeah, that's great.
50 reviews.
10% is
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. And the median, I also see the median playtime for the demo, and it's like 18 minutes.
Okay.
So most of the people, they played it through,
Mhm.
all the content, all 20
Yeah.
minutes.
20 minutes, yeah, it's good enough.
And one great comment from these reviews was, it's great, but it's short. So
It's a demo.
yes, it means that people want more content for this game.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. If they played 18 minutes in on average, that's
Yeah.
we want more. Great, that's great.
So yeah. So
Perfect.
progression.
Yeah. So at what stage of development are you in now?
It's a prototype.
Okay.
You
It's
know,
a bit more than a prototype. It's basically a demo.
you know, what is the difference between demo and prototype?
Yeah. Well,
You can see it from
Whatever.
different perspectives.
yeah.
From
if a prototype is gray boxes and store assets, then yeah, it's
yes. From production wise, you have pre-production stage,
Mhm.
production stage, marketing, release, and then
post live ops or
post.
whatever.
Yes, and so here we at pre-production. So we draw some arts.
Mhm.
We still changing some story aspects. We figuring out mechanics and so on. So it's pre-production. Also, there is some like early prototype, vertical slice, then alpha, beta,
Gold.
gold, release to marketing,
Mhm.
and release for the build.
DLCs, updates.
It's
and stuff
it's
like that.
the build stages, and here we at the prototype, and we are making vertical slice from it.
Mhm.
So we still need to. We have some concepts for base mechanics, like core mechanics of the game. We need to finish some more, some with detailed touch.
Okay.
Then we need to make meta over these core mechanics, like RPG progression, like progression with resources, with your inventory, and it will be the vertical slice.
No.
And after the vertical slice is complete, all we need to do is to polish these mechanics and create content.
Mhm. Okay, there's lots of stuff to be done.
So yes, I think that we need like 2 years to complete the whole game,
Mhm.
and we need like half of a year to complete this vertical slice stage.
Okay. And you've spent up till now how much time? I
Oh,
mean,
Okay, we started.
You wrote, you designed and stuff. There's a lot of work that's been done that's not calculated, but
The idea of
approximately, yeah.
I know I know exact dates actually.
Perfect.
The idea come into my mind in 2018.
Cool.
Then I start to draw some schemes, to put some story aspects. Then I contact my friend. I showed him a short demo of how a person running on a level made by my own forces on Unity, and he tells, "Oh, this shit." Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. You can curse here.
I should help you.
Is he a programmer?
Yes, and
Yeah, of
he is
course,
the
yeah.
programmer for now,
Yeah.
for the game.
Yeah.
So he made. We started with story mechanics, with this idea of branch dialogues, consequences on your choices, and so on. So we use RTC Draft tool to
Mhm.
create the story, these branches. Then he wrote the bridge to Unity.
To connect it. Yeah.
Yes, to properly connect it, because RTC have some bridges, but they not very great for us. So
everybody creates their own
yes
APIs or whatever.
Yeah. And we create that, and we build. The game was like Hotline Miami. It was 2D on sprites, animated by hand. We implement very good lighting system for this game, and then in 2021 we understand that it doesn't work. The game doesn't work, so we can't sell it, can't put it on the market, and we just dropped this 2D part and turned into 3D assets like that.
Okay. So
and
it's still in Unity?
Huh?
It's still done in Unity?
Yes, it's Unity. Okay. We save all what is under the hood of this game. So all
the code, basically.
Yes. The code, we saved it, and we just swapped the assets to 3D, change the camera. So some. So since 2021, this idea, it's like a pivot for us. So when I told everyone when we start to develop in this game, it's from 21.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, since then we start to create models like NPCs, enemies, make proper mechanics, to start work more productively actually on this game, and it starts to looking more good and good with time.
Yeah, perfect.
So something like.
So it's like 2 years of pre-production.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Not the entire time. Of course, you have your day job. This is not the only thing you.
Yes,
do
and
in
we
life.
have some times when we don't touch the game.
Yeah. It's
like
been
month or two.
3 months for me. I didn't open Unreal.
Yeah. So. And then you open with your fresh forces.
Yeah. And then you see what you did the last time. I was like, man.
Yeah.
That's bad. Yeah. Well, it's a way to do it.
So yes, and I hope we are looking for some funding to make this job our main job. Actually,
of course, yeah.
Because it's hard to make games like after.
Yeah, as an afterthought, as something that you're not dedicated to the whole time, because it takes a lot of single stretches of time to focus. It's not like I'll work 20 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. No, you need like 5 to 7 hours of full concentration, just doing one thing to make it work. So.
And and I'm a freelance worker, so I have I can manage my time when I have a week when I work for my projects and a week when I dedicate it to the game.
Oh,
so
cool,
that.
Cool. For the freelance, what do you do? Before we move to that, I want to ask one thing first. And before that question, do you want the beer?
Yeah.
Let's get the beer. And the main question here is, what's your role on this game? What do you do on Drake? You're not a programmer. You're not a developer.
Yes, I can see through code. I have dedication to understand the code, to find if I have some bug in Unity, I can scrub through the code and find the line where the error and ask programmer what I should write here to fix it.
That's great.
So I called this a game director. So when you direct what the game will look like, and in this,
that's basically it's.
In this role, I made everything.
yeah, exactly. You're a game designer, level designer, producer.
Yes, like that.
Yeah, game director. Okay. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Welcome once again. And the Dečko Car, as I told you, they have a T-shirt for you. As I told you, at this moment I have only girl T-shirts. I'll get them tomorrow. I will mail the one for you. You'll be able to choose, but for your wife, you can take this one.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's that's great. I mean, the role of the game director on a small scale operation. That's like
I don't. It's not my invention. I saw the memes from The Witcher when they show this man that's responsible for The Witcher in the start of development and the end of development of Witcher 3. And his role on this game is the game director. And I think it's who am I?
Exactly.
It is how I will look like when we publish the game.
Oh, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Hope with the same wallet.
Great. Okay, so as a freelancer, what do you do?
I'm a video designer, so I make videos for different customers. From the advertisement, like explainer videos in After Effects.
So it's After Effects, okay.
It's After Effects, Blender, and all the stuff relates to it.
Okay.
So I have some small experience in Houdini,
Cool.
and Adobe Premiere, and so on. So I apply all my knowledge of how to make videos in my job.
Oh, cool.
And the jobs, I don't use this Upwork platform for finding jobs. It's almost all I have. It's my friends from the different industries.
Oh, cool.
So,
so they basically recommend you?
They recommend you, not
me?
you.
Okay. Well, they can recommend me, of course. Yeah.
I can recommend
stuff,
you, yes. They recommend me or they bring me some job. So I have a studio we work with them since 2011. So when they have jobs that I can do, they goes to me. So
Okay,
something
cool.
like that.
Cool. Okay, so that's what pays the bills?
Yeah.
That finances your life. That's great.
Yeah.
Do you like doing that?
I like that, but I want to switch more into the creative industry. I thinking about it in 2011 actually. It was a conference that called CG event. It was a conference for these video guys like VFX and computer graphics and so on. And
where was that?
It was in Moscow.
Okay.
And I heard the lecture from the creator of it is a not a cartoon, not like anime. It's like it is a series. He made actually a full movie for that. It is animated movie called Cyberslav.
Okay.
Yes, it has some folk.
Cyberslav.
Cyberslav.
Okay.
It has some Slavic folk looking characters in cyberpunkish environment. You know,
cool.
like a big knight with a big sword that glows, and he has a lot of tech on him. So it's
crazy. Yeah.
It's looking cool.
Nice.
And he also made this movie in his spare time after his animation work. And he tells that we need to focus more on creativity and how to express ourselves. And I think, it's a good point. It's what I miss in my work actually, because I making a lot of advertisement and so on. I have a lot of experience to make stories, but I missed it.
It's not you in there. Yeah, it's not you in there. Yeah, I mean, you do definitely provide some portion of yourself into that
Yes.
creativity, but it's not the story or the motion you would like to.
Yes, and
Yeah,
you also
understandable.
you always have this direction from your customers that very restricts you in some points. So from this point, I start to find more creative works for myself, and I meet. I find a customer actually that from this studio from 2011. They call me and say we doing a great cinematic for the video game. So do you want to participate as line director? Just to collect all together in montage, to direct the artists that working on this cinematic. And I said, wow, it's what I'm looking for.
Great.
And we made this cinematic in half of a year actually. It was hand-drawn to the animation.
Okay.
It was very cool for the very great game. And then
How long was the video?
1.5 minutes. And it was
Okay, 1.5 hours, 6 months. Okay,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
and it was
1.5 minutes.
30
Oh.
people who worked on it. So
What was the idea behind it? 1.5 minutes, taking that much time.
it was a massive battle.
Okay.
So you have these two armies, and you have combat scenes inside. So it was very action-packed scene.
Okay.
And we have and we don't have too much experience with classical 2D animation, so we need to figure out how to make it. Because it's
lots of moving parts.
It's a process, because you need 2D animators. You need in between rotoscope artists and so on, and the artists who made the backgrounds and so on. So
a lot of people. Yeah.
then we find actually we were struggling with it, and then we find a supervisor that have huge experience with 2D animation, and he helped us a lot.
Yeah.
So on this project I was like this line director, and then I compose it together. So I take layers from artists, put some dust, blood, visual effects, and it's hard to tell about my job, because always when I tell about it, I take my phone, see.
Yeah, exactly.
And when it is a podcast, it's hard to tell
it's
about
hard.
it. Yes.
But if you have a portfolio or anything with links to that work or whatever for the game, we will put the links in the description of the episode, so that people can go and check.
I will send you, because this cinematic is a top notch.
Yeah, I believe it. 6 months for half a minute.
Yes.
A minute and a half. Yeah, it's.
And after this work, because we interconnect with the studio that making this game, the head of the studio reached me and tells me, can you also animate the cutscenes in the game? So then I jumped to them as a contractor.
So that was your first involvement with the game dev industry, basically.
Yes.
So
it was my first.
That answers the question: how did you start?
Yes.
In the game dev.
Yes.
Nice.
It's fluid change of theme.
Fluid transition. Yeah.
Yes.
And what the game was?
It called Ash of Gods. Ash of Gods Redemption. Yes.
Okay. You showed me on the phone. It's basically on a medieval RPG.
Yes.
With a tactical combat system.
Tactical combat. It's like Banner Saga, with more not northern setting, but more medieval setting.
Okay.
So it's a fantasy world with some.
It looks great. It's really great. It's 2D hand.
Yes.
Drawn
They use
animation.
these 2D animations for their NPCs, and it took them also a lot of work to do it.
Yeah. How do they do animation? It's spline.
No. It's hand drawn actually.
Oh.
Like old way.
Oh.
So they film actors on the green screen with isometric camera.
Okay.
And then hand draw, rotoscope them.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, and add some anticipation and these animation techniques to the character.
A lot of work.
Yes. And
that's why it looks really organic.
Yeah.
You know, it's
and
it's
they
nice.
have very very cool art style. So they have very well drawn backgrounds for the battlefields, and these animated NPCs they merge in these backgrounds. So it looks stunning actually.
Yeah.
So I made for them cutscenes, some visual effects in Unity, like dust flowing on the battlefield and wind stuff. So
Nice. And how long did you work on the game?
it was maybe it was another half of a year.
Okay. So half a year for the
Cinematic, yes.
and then half a year of this.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's a year of basically working hands-on on a. Okay, you
I work for the other stuff also because I'm a freelance contractor.
Yeah, of course. But you weren't involved in the game development as such, but you were a big part of it, telling the story of the game through the cinematics.
Actually, I was in game because visual effects in Unity they requires you to understand the Unity and the project, and you have the repository on your computer. So I also
when you
have a talk to programmers and artists, and we have meetings each day. So
okay, you proved me wrong. I agree. Yeah. Great,
so it's not like making some videos for them, and
it's not only that, but actually
yeah.
working in the engine and providing inputs for the game world. That's great. Perfect. So all that knowledge that you gained from the Ashes of Gods,
Ash of Gods.
Okay. Was that the point when you started thinking about your own game, or it came later on?
Yes. After this experience, I think that the games is the perfect medium for telling stories and for expressing yourself, because you have what mediums we have, like art, like books, movies, and so on, and games, sound, music, yes, and games they combine these all mediums, yes. And also they add interactivity to the player.
Exactly.
So yes, and I go to game dev more like for the artistic expression, like that. Not
exactly. That's my standpoint also, because as I told you, I was writing screenplays as a hobby for movies and TV shows and stuff like that, building my own science fiction world. Just because I wanted to, my idea was to create movies, but it's a bit of an uphill battle, probably much harder than creating a game. But then it came to be that I want to finally, and understood after 7 or 8 years thinking about making movies, I decided to move this to a video game. And that artistic expression, creating a video game, also allows you to tell, to share your thoughts about the world you live in, through a video game. Not to put it, bluntly, to the people, but through subcontext, to provide for those that want to get into that, to understand and what you're talking about. What's this game all about? Basically.
And it's also interesting because the world is not black and white, and the games allows you to explore this think of gray areas of some ideas maybe in interactive way, so you can play your character and do this way or another way. So, and this idea it fills me, and I want to try to explore it in our game with these consequences and choices you make and so on. So, to look on the same story from different sides of this story. So when you when you have this conflict with this artifact, yes, and different factions that want different from it, and you joining them, you also join this ideology of this faction.
Exactly.
And you see the story from their side.
Mm-hmm.
So something like that.
And each faction, nobody, it's a misconception that stems from movies and comic books, basically, that they are villains.
Yes, yes.
In real life, there are no villains. Every villain, every person that we see as a villain, has a reasoning, good reasoning. Why are they doing that?
Yeah, yeah.
And they believe their idea and the way they think and the way they see the world is the right one. And it's on you as a player for a game, for example, is to prove them wrong or side with them.
Yeah.
Understand why
Yes.
they're doing this, and and it allows to basically, as you said, factions. Each faction is organized around an idea,
Yeah.
and each faction is they think the same. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
they have their ideology, thought process, whatever it is, and they push in the same direction. And that's when you, as a player, come in and see if you can fit in or not.
Yeah.
Maybe you will use them to further your progress, but not to side with them. But
Yes, yes.
that's where that
It's
interactivity comes in
yeah,
and
yeah.
allows you as a player to
To try,
that,
actually.
yeah.
You can, with games, you can try and
Yeah.
see what consequence it costs
in a
you.
safe environment.
Yes, in a
basically.
safe environment,
Yeah.
actually, yeah. It is, with heroes and villains in Star Wars, for example,
Yeah.
there is certain evil side, yes,
Yeah.
and a lot of people like
The dark side, yeah.
Yes, yes.
The dark side makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
It comes with consequences.
of course.
Yeah.
As well as the light side comes with the consequences of being on that side. So
Yeah, and you can see this evolvement between two generations of movies, like old ones that completely black and white,
yeah.
and new that was prequels.
Mhm.
It has a lot of gray areas actually.
yeah.
So and movies they explore this in their way, and games can explore it in more compelling way for the player, because it has interactivity to try to see to play again and so on.
But it comes basically boils down to the game developer that's making the game to provide that to the player.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's a hard job.
Yeah.
Nobody said it's easy.
Yeah.
And
And
that's the beauty of it.
yes, and a lot of games they also have these restrictions. There is a lot of games that are movie games, with the choices, but these choices stick to the certain point of view all the way. So they want to give an interactivity, but they don't touch it yet.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing to touch and to try to explore for us as an artist, actually.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of stuff to work with.
Yeah.
To play, I mean, it's, as I said, it's a tough job, especially if you go too deep into exploration of your thought process and ideas, because at the end of the day, that needs to be consumable by the player.
Yeah.
And you need to give them time to understand what you're talking about.
Yes.
And sometimes it's difficult to Some players will play Witcher regardless. They love the combat system. They like the world. They don't give a fuck about the story, and they'll just pass through the story, but they will enjoy the combat.
Yeah.
And my one of my best friends is like that. Whenever there's a cutscene in any game, he's like next. He doesn't give a fuck about it. He just wants to play the game.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man, I can play a game like that, but I love playing the game. I don't care about the story. Okay, there's people like that. On the other side, I love the story. I will read every
through dialogues.
Every dialogue, every book, every piece of asset that's in the game to get at the background of the story, of the characters, the lore of the world, to understand what my character is doing and in what kind of world are we living in.
Yeah.
So and that's like not reading a book, but I'm reading a book by playing the game. That gives me that much of for example, Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Pillars of Eternity, the one the
Fallout,
Divinity the Fallout, New Vegas specifically. Those games that provide a lot of fucking content, that's
a lot of stories
that's there, and you don't need to read them, you don't need to go through that. But if you do, if you want to immerse yourself in that world, it's there for you.
Actually, it's an interesting point to engage also those people who love the combat and the action into the ideas you want to bring. So it's, you know, the game design, it's not only about to tell the story through these medias that that everyone used to, like texts and dialogues and cutscenes, but also you can bring a story with your combat and your gameplay. So a great game, it's a game that share idea that you want to tell through the gameplay process.
Yeah, for example, if you side with that faction, you'll get access to this type of weaponry, which allows you to combat enemies that way. But if you choose the other one and go with their ideology or ideas, you'll get their combat systems. And
maybe we can split the players. So one who loves to shoot, he will choose this faction who shooting. Yes, and the one who loves to read stories, he joined the faction that have a lot of conversational gameplay in it.
Yeah, to avoid the combat, basically, through dialogue.
Yes. And then the player will get this. The player who wants combats, he will receive the gameplay he wants, and he will see the story. He will experience the same story, but through these instruments of gameplay.
There are games also. I recently read about a game. I'm not sure which one was that. They, I think it was for Fallout, the original Fallouts 1 and 2, or something maybe more modern. I'm not sure. But the idea was to allow the player to either get into combat, sneak around, or talk their way around it. And each combat each situation that might result in combat, you have 3 ways of doing them, and it allows the player to play the game the way they want. But for example, if they've been doing combat for X amount of hours, then they don't want. They're sick of the combat at this point. They just want to skirt around it. They sneak and pass through.
It's
and vice versa.
It's like the gold rule for the RPGs, like steal, kill, or talk.
Exactly.
And you need to figure out your level design from these 3 standpoints. So and this is also the thing we want to achieve in Drake. And we built our role-play system actually from these 3 thread. So we don't want to put too much skills and parameters that you can scrap through to build your class or something. So we have these basic three parameters, and we have perks or treats, something like that, you receive with the story. And this is the progression of your character. So your character going through the story, and he gain treats for himself.
Traits,
Traits.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. For example, Fallout 3, they have skills, they have traits, they have perks, they have a whole bunch of shit, and it's crazy. And I was like, no, I'm not going that way. I don't want to. My idea about my game, for example, is to make it the most playable game ever. It's just a set of words. I'm not going that way because that's my first game, so I know I won't be there. But I would like to try to create the most playable game, which strikes the right balance between the content, the mechanics, and the ease of play. So in that sense, I was researching New Vegas a lot of through all kinds of aspects, and I was like, traits, perks, that's too much, man. That's too much. For example, when I play Pillars of Eternity, and when I have to level up my characters, I stop the game for the day, I save my position, and then the next time I start playing, I'm like, I'm gonna get a coffee, smoke a cigarette, and then I will spend the next hour playing with my leveling up of character, because it takes a lot of time. Because in Pillars of Eternity, you need to read each of the magic skills that you get, each of spells. I mean, you have to invest a lot of time to upgrade a single character. Yes. If you want to do it right, you can just randomly choose and do it. But I'm trying to make the best character that I can, and to combine everything that makes sense for that character because of their stats and the class and stuff like that. And I've been thinking about that. So that's the point which I love the most. Leveling up your character is it's in RPG the point of the game, to level up. But then I was like, I'm stopping to play the game for the day because I have to level up. And I was like, I don't want to have that. I just want stuff to be optimized. I don't know how to do it. I'm not sure what that is, but that's the idea I'm trying to go to, just to make it, to have everything there, but not to be overly complicated. I understand. Not too many skills, not too many stuff.
But for this type of gameplay, when you have a lot of different skills and classes of characters, there is a certain audience that wants certainly it. So like these games that were published recently, like Pathfinder, it's two games, Pathfinder Right of the Righteous. It published last year, and it has all of this, and it made specifically for this type of players that want a lot of texts, like book-like text, and a lot of skills, and people love it.
I'm not sure. That's the point. I haven't done the research. I'm trying to create a questionnaire with a lot of questions regarding all of that, to share it with my friends, with you, with forums, with wherever I can, to find.
It's like market analysis.
The market analysis, just to find what the people are thinking about this niche of games, tactical RPGs. I have my standpoint, and I'm making a game basically for myself. But are the people like me a small niche in that entire genre, or is the majority, or somewhere in between? I don't know. That's what I don't know, and I want to research that. And that's why I want to create the questionnaire, to try to get as many people as I can to fill it in.
Because when you when you market your game, you target certain audiences, and when you make tactical RPG, you intersect with this audience that love very complex games.
Yeah.
and if you provide them the game that don't
Don't deliver on that
don't
level.
deliver their needs, they will play it, but then they will write a review that
Yeah,
I expected
that's not
something
good.
something
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, and because I put in my target audience hardcore strategists, RPG, die-hard fans, and if I try to simplify it, maybe I'm not targeting that.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm targeting casual strategists
Yes.
or mid-core players, or
Mhm.
and I'm not sure which way to go. I mean, this is something that will be done in the proper pre-production phase of the project of creating my game, to see in which direction I want to go.
Yeah.
Because if I go to the hardcore, which I really want, that will take a lot more time
Yes.
than
yes.
making it a bit less complex.
Yeah, more casual.
Yeah.
And we also have this fear because we targeting both actually the people who love action, top-down action shooters, and people who love these isometric
Diablo.
Yes.
Yeah.
These isometric RPGs like Diablo, or maybe more tactical based RPGs
Divinity.
like yes.
XCOM.
Yes, and and we fear that people who love action, they will run away from dialogues, and people who love these deep dialogues, they will run away from action.
Yeah. Because I always loved the Diablo, but I was always looking at Diablo with, from elitist point of view. It's a great game, but it's a hack and slash game. It's like you point and click and you slash. There's not much thought to that. Okay, you have your character and you build your character, but that's where it all ends. There's no tactical approach to it. Just run in, hack the demons or whatever, and that's it.
Yes.
And I really loved Baldur's Gate at that time more. But when it comes to creating my own game, it's a minefield. You don't know where to put your feet.
It's a hard job for an indie, actually. Not to overcomplicate stuff, to dive into production hell.
Not to be able to complete it. Yeah.
Yes.
The feature creep.
Yeah. And to find your audience that will love. That's why I think for indies, it's very important first to have experience first and then make the game.
Of course.
And the second, to know your audience and to try to deliver them content at the earliest stage possible. So that's why we have playable demo on Steam. Just to touch with audience, we targeting, we trying to arrange on our platforms or something, and to give them ability to try the game and to give us feedback. So something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That makes a lot of sense. I played. I don't know if you played the Disciples games. There's a new one, Liberation.
Yes, I heard about it. I have this in our market analysis page, but I don't touch it.
Yeah, I played it. Disciples Liberation. It's a clunky game. I played it for maybe 2 or 3 hours, not much. But their combat system is great. It's a not a hex grid, but it's a it is a hex grid.
It's like
or it's it doesn't matter, or whatever.
Okay.
It's a turn-based combat. My brain just fogged. I'm not sure if it's square-based or hex grid, but whatever it is, that's it. And I
turn-based.
Yeah, it's turn-based. Yeah, on a playing field. Yeah. So you have you have your units, you have enemy units, and then you progress through the battlefield and fight.
Like in Heroes?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's the same. But what I realized there was that you have also to play the combat in 2 times the speed I always do that. I don't have time to watch all the animation. I do it for the first couple of combat battles, and then I just use the fastest mode possible.
I just need to.
I want to combat. This basically only speeds up the animations, not the decision process on your part. Also, maybe speeds up the AI to act faster. So do it faster, and I have all the time of the world to plot my move. Basically. So I speed it up to 2 times. I play the game. I play the combat, and the combat is so slow, man, and the animations are slow. I went to such a length to record my combat session, then pull it into Premiere, and then to edit, speed up animations to see if the animations were moving faster, how long would the combat last. So I was able to cut down the combat that lasted 9 minutes to like 3.5 minutes. I cut 6 minutes of animation time.
Yes.
And I didn't cut it. I just sped it up to be reasonable. If you play it on 1x speed, okay, just play the animation, that's it. But if you allow me to speed it up actually, because there's a mage that he summons a ball, and then the ball comes from the sky, and then and it's all in two times the speed, 200%, and it flies, and I mean, come on.
And do you know how much work to do it?
yeah. Well,
it's so much work to make these VFX of these magic animations, and then players want to speed up them. just
so
experience
make the animations more optimized.
Or maybe make
why do I have
gameplay.
to watch the summoning of the ball? Just throw the ball out of your hand, man.
Yes.
That's it. I mean, it's seen and it's been done, but they really clung to that combat part.
This is why I don't really like turn-based combat, because it really you're just wasting your time to experience the combat, and that's why we on very early stage we try to implement the real-time combat, because we want more. Because when you want to role play a badass that want to run and shoot bad guys, you need to get this gameplay actually.
And I have a different standpoint. When were you born? How old are you?
In 91.
91. Okay, I was born in 78. So there might be that age difference, in sense that when I play a Heroes game, Heroes of Might and Magic, I love to sit back, put my feet up, and just click my way through the game, having all the time in the world. Nothing rushes me in the game to progress faster. There's no timer, there's no action combat, there's nothing, no skill involved, physical skill involved there. Just my brain combating the choices and the tactical stuff, like I don't know, leader on the battlefield, commander on the battlefield. So I don't have to run, I have to think. That's my job. So I love that, but I also love to play the games that are like involving, but I want to create a game that allows you.
I think
you have the time to think.
There is a certain genre in video games, like idle games. They
I don't understand that. I mean, I understand it, but come on. I mean, I need to play the game if I'm playing the game.
They finding fun part from this management system, actually. That you have these battles that fighting each other, and the player just need to control.
It's not about the battle; it's all about the preparation for it.
For preparation, or maybe you can use some spells or something like that. So you making micromanagement from resources or meta standpoint. And the enemies and your armies fighting by themselves. So maybe this is where should have a look.
Yeah. That's what I'm that's where I find the tactical RPG system is like my heart doesn't race. I was playing the other day Elden Ring, and I was fighting a boss, and my heart was racing so much because it's been like 12th time that I'm running at this boss, and I just want to kill him, and
A lot of adrenaline.
yeah, I have to kill him. Yeah. So a lot of adrenaline, man. And it's great, but when I want to relax, Elden Ring is not the game that I'll be playing. I'll be playing Heroes of Might and Magic or so. That's that game that. Yeah, which one?
Stellaris.
Stellaris.
Yeah, it's like it is more like strategy game. But and you have a lot of micromanagement.
It's a grand story. It's 4X game, right?
I don't think so. It's you know you have this. Yes, it's like
it's 4X. It's like Civilization or
but real time 4X.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because everyone evolves at the same time. So, and you can play it anytime, and it consumes your time completely, like any 4X game actually.
I never played any 4X games because I knew what they are.
Yeah,
I knew the trap. I never played also World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
I was in beta in 2001 or 2, and I got my beta. I downloaded 1 gigabyte at that time, and never played it because I knew what it was. Because the World of Warcraft was the game I've been looking for all the time before that. This was the open world interaction with other players, the fantasy of Warcraft, and blah. That's the game.
It's a lot of.
And I just knew it will consume my time all the way through, and I never.
It's true.
I don't have a single minute of play in World of Warcraft. I love the lore, everything. I love the art style. I used to love the art style. Now I'm a little more going toward that realistic, but doesn't matter. Really mad respect for that, but no. And that's the Civilization. When I was a kid, there was a friend of mine, and his much older brother was playing. Yes, Sid Meier's Civilization. I don't know which one of the first. And I saw him playing it. It's like there's so much resources. There's so much stuff to do here, and I played it once. His brother was, I don't know, he went to a party or whatever, and we were playing. Then my friend fell asleep, and I kept playing until I don't know how much. And I was like, I didn't even scratch the surface of this game playing it like 10 hours.
We have times.
And just like was, can't do it.
We have times when we gather with our friends in a home, in my apartment, and we have laptops, and we play Civilization. We started at like 6 p.m. and we
just at 6 p.m. But 2 days later.
We started 6 p.m. and we ended at 12 another day. So it's like the whole evening and the whole night.
Well, that's the way to do it. I mean,
maybe.
That's that.
And this is a computer game, and it consumes your time. Yes.
Yeah, there's so much stuff to be done. Because when I started playing Civilization, that time, the first couple of turns they went pretty fast.
Yes.
And then at some point when I build up and got some other resources to be mined, and was like, fuck, let me do this, do a lot of things to be done in one turn. And the next turn just adds more. Oh, come on. And I never played any. That's my only experience with 4X games, and I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not the FPS guy all the way through. I went on tournaments, but for Counter-Strike, Unreal Tournament, and Quake 3 Arena, I wasn't very good at it. But I went and I had fun there. But I also like the slow games, like RPGs that allow you to take your time and think about it and play it and go through the story. So I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not on the...
And the Stellaris game, it is like that, but you don't have turns, and you don't need to wait.
There's no stopping.
You don't stop, and like it's action for
Jesus, no. Yeah, StarCraft was too much for me. So, yeah. I love StarCraft. There's a book, the cinematic.
I saw it. Yeah.
The cinematic art of StarCraft, the beautiful book. I love the world of StarCraft, but I played through the campaign on hard mode. It's all good, but when I try to play with serious players of StarCraft online, it's too much. It was like chess, because you cannot play chess randomly, wing it, think about it, but you have to know how to open. If I open that way, then you open this way and no other way. Yeah. It's a lot of patterns that you have to do in order to win, and I love to be fluid.
It is called easy to learn, hard to master.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
And in this concept, you have a lot of experienced players, and when you face them, you don't.
They don't use the mouse basically.
Yes,
it's all I know how to use the shortcuts, but they're much faster than me. I'm nowhere near them. It's crazy. So yeah, we were talking about StarCraft and stuff like that. What it takes to defeat a pretty experienced opponent, and that's where all that skill comes in. And the thing I learned by playing game tournaments in, as I said, Counter-Strike, Quake 3 Arena, and Unreal Tournament, is that to achieve that level of expertise in playing a game, it takes a lot of time. You need to practice a lot, like any sports, like any skill. It takes time to develop that skill to be on par with people who knows how to play it. And I just realized I don't have time to develop in that area.
Internal forces to make it. Because when you know it's like a sport, real sport. You need to want to make a sport and to make this thing to feed you.
Exactly.
Or
to make a living of it,
or you should just avoid it, because
be a casual player, and
it either consume your time, and if you don't eager enough to make it your life, your profession, actually, it's give you nothing instead of consuming your life, because
and frustration for not being that good, and you're just good enough to play with someone but not to defeat them, and then you're neither a professional making money out of it, or you're casual player who doesn't care. So you're in the middle, and you just waste your time and don't go anywhere. So
but sometimes it's cool to play with your friends, actually.
Exactly.
Especially with ones who not experienced enough.
And if you're better than them, that's even
it's
better.
like board games, maybe. You gather with your friends, you make preparations, have some beer, some snacks, and you have this computer game instead of board games, maybe.
And that's like hanging out with your friends, spending some quality time together, playing a game, enjoying a game, either a board game or a computer game. That's
and computer games gives you additional ability to meet your friends online, maybe, because after the pandemic, or in the middle of pandemic, when you forced to stay at home, you still need some time to gather with your friends, so you can do it online with the online games like that.
Then that's the beauty of it, basically. That's great. We were talking earlier about the game from our studio, Emotions Park, the Rue Valley. I just want to mention them because they were also on the White Nights.
I saw them, and you know, when you go through the White Nights booth,
You see you see games in various stages of development.
Yes,
basically.
and because I have the booth by myself, I don't have time to move to every booth. And so I made for the booth and take pictures of the games I loved to check on them after the event. So yes, and this game it drives attention.
Yeah, it's really their demo is pretty polished. It looks great. It's probably
they are still on the demo also, yes.
Yeah. It's not publicly available. It's not. They have the Steam page, but there's no demo to be downloaded yet. They're polishing it. They will publish it, of course. But if you, as I told you, if you want, we can go to their studio. You can try the game. It's like maybe 45 minutes of playtime.
Okay.
To explore all the stuff in that portion of the game, and it's pretty interesting, especially if you like Disco Elysium and games like that. That's the game.
Okay.
That's the game. That's great.
Super.
Yeah.
And did you mentioned studio?
Yeah.
So it's
Emotions Park. Yeah?
It's not their first project.
No, it's the first project for Emotions Park, the studio. But before that, the guys that are working on that project made a game Helion, which is a orbital mechanics inspired survival, building a space station in the orbit of a planet and then conquering others and surviving on that space station and stuff like that. It was a pretty huge game. It had a really great following. But the investor that they were working with, at some point they pulled the plug on the game because the game didn't deliver that much revenue compared to the time needed to maintain the game alive.
Yeah, I understand.
It was a multiplayer game, so it was a pretty big bite for the guys that were making their first game, and they made a great game, really great game, but just the cost benefit wasn't on their side, unfortunately.
Yeah, I understand.
But it was a great learning curve for them. But then as I talked to Marko Smiljanic, basically the main guy there for development of the game, and one of the owners of the studio, he was like, "We're crazy bunch of people. We are now creating a completely different game. And we're not using anything that we learned from Helion. Now they're making like a narrative-based RPG adventure, which is like totally not what the first game was."
But the experience of making a game, it's also an experience.
Exactly.
And this is important, I think, and this is what a lot of indies lacking, I think, because to make a great game, you need to make another game first.
The bad game.
Yeah.
The bad one.
Yeah. And when someone asks me, I want to make a game, what should I start? Start from finding a job in game dev, maybe, because it's an easiest way to jump on this production train. And to learn how to make game, what
it takes to create the game.
Yes, what are the production steps? What resources you need to make a game, and then when you publish some other game with maybe other guys, then you will think about your game.
And you will also meet people.
Yes.
Who can maybe help you on your project and stuff like that. Yeah, that was the question I asked on Reboot. I was listening to a panel with investors, like venture capitalists and stuff like that. Not how to pitch basically, but what they are looking for
from
a game. What's their business model? How they connect with game developers, what the game developers can expect from venture capitalists. So it's not publishers per se, but venture capitalists that
they're looking for a
are
company.
Specified for game development. And at some point, I raised my hand and asked a question. I stood up and said, "Why would you want to work with me?" That was my question. Yeah, a pretty bold one, considering the people still sitting on that stage. I said, "Yeah, I'm sorry for the question, but I have a great idea. I think I have a great idea for a game.
Yeah.
But why would you even talk with me? Because I'm a one-guy operation at this point, and I don't have anything to show for. I don't have any. I have experience in software development for 20 years, like a product manager. But I'm not. I never worked a day of my life in game development." And they were like, "Okay, cool. We probably wouldn't want to talk to you unless you find a way to pitch us the idea here at the conference, for example.
Yeah.
But other than that, if you just plainly approach us, you don't have a track record, you haven't published a game, you haven't worked on a game, we don't have that much to talk to you at this stage."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, thanks for that. That's what I'm thinking also. So what can I do to get to you?" He said, "Well, you should have some time spent working on a game, maybe not your own, but maybe try to find a job at a game studio, work on a game, meet people," exactly what you told me, "meet people and start from there."
Yeah.
And I just want to commend your notion of how to approach it, because a couple of smart people investing money in games told me that. Yes. You have that. You have me asking this. It's available on YouTube, basically on the Reboots channel. Yeah, that session was recorded, but so you can see me standing up and asking the stupid question. Why would you want to talk to me? Yeah,
it's a smartphone question, because it's.
I'm in a problem. I have an idea. I want to make it, and how can I get the money? Nobody wants to give me money because I don't have a track record. So how can we?
It's the question that every developer should ask for himself.
Yeah.
Why every investor should invest in me?
Well, why should they talk to me? That's the first step. Because getting to do a deal is depends on many components.
Just notice for
just to spend there like 3 minutes talking to someone who never did anything.
Yes. And the one thing is to interview to game dev, to find something you can apply in game dev for yourself, find a company or find some people, and the other thing is to go to some other conferences to start showing your game to different people and to ask their opinion. Because in 2021, when we made the pivot for our game to change this to 3D direction, I told to my folks that I working with that to sell this game, we need to understand how it works, actually, because we can make it, but how to sell it, we don't know. So we start to find conferences where can we show our idea, our game, to meet other people. And this head of that studio that made Ash of Gods, he has a huge experience in publishing games, before. So I called him. He gave me a good advice that you need to show yourself. You need to make yourself recognizable in this game development area, and know other people, to see connections where you can join and where you can apply your game, actually.
When I went to Reboot, that's where it all rests on you as a person to meet other people. I was squeamish at start. I wasn't so open to talk to people that I don't know. I knew a lot of people there.
It's hard.
And it helped me to know a lot of people from Belgrade. over there because then, and they know me from podcast, of course. The podcast gave me a way into the industry. Basically, this was not planned at all when I started the podcast, but it was like I'm a gamer. I love playing games. I love film. I write for film as a hobby, and I've been in software development for 2 decades. So I have this expertise, but zero time in game development. And I had a friend, I still have a friend, Dušan Žica, who was at that moment 3 years in game development industry, working on some games. And he was like, okay, I know the people.
Yeah.
We can attack this topic together, where he comes as an expert in the field, and I come as someone who doesn't know anything about making a game. And then I will ask the questions for the people who don't know anything about it, who want to maybe get into the game development, and he will ask the expert questions. And that dynamic worked pretty nicely, but we did 5 audio episodes of the podcast, but then later on he had other stuff to do. He didn't have time for the podcast. Then I was like, okay, I will continue the podcast, and this is it at this time. So the idea behind it was that I wasn't planning on doing anything with this, but this allowed me to understand parts of the game development process. And after like 15 episodes, maybe, I realized that it took me 15 episodes talking to people for multiple hours. I realized that maybe the stuff that I was writing for film can be
applied to the game.
Applied to the game.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about creating a Heroes of Might and Magic 3 for mobile. Not the same game, of course, but the same mechanics, but in a maybe more Dungeons and Dragons style of art. Like not to be that, rudimentary style that Heroes of Might and Magic 3 had, but to amp up the style and have this new fantasy world where all those mechanics will be available on the mobile. Because I don't have Heroes of Might and Magic on mobile, and I want them on mobile, and I don't have them. So I was like, I want to solve the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And that means I need to create a completely new world and stuff like that. And after talking to Igor Simic, he was a guest here from Demagog Studio, 2 and 2 came to be because then I understood that, fuck man, I have the world, I have the idea for the game. Why not make that game in this world that I have?
Yes.
And so
you already have a world.
I had the world. Why invent a new one?
Yeah.
And just apply that to this set of mechanics. And the podcast gave me direction for that. That's now the main thing that I want to do. So we'll see how it goes. But I never had any plans for this, and it just naturally came to be, and I'm thankful for that. Yeah.
It's a super cool stuff when you naturally come to stuff.
Yeah. It wasn't like Excel-based calculation, a spreadsheet that calculates the ins and outs, the trends, the money.
Yeah.
No, it's a passion project basically. And
it's I think it's why indie is what is the indie's strong side. It's a passion to make a cool game, not looking at the numbers and stuff, but
of course you have to be
you
have to think about that.
At some point you need to look at that.
Exactly. That when we talked about which target group should you address, is it the hardcore players or more casual? That's the business part maybe that can inform the decision about technological part of the developing the game. But
it's I have an idea that everything is an art and marketing is an art too. To make a good marketing,
I will agree with that. Yeah.
And this business side of your project, it's also a part of your art. you know, like Stephen King wouldn't be so well recognizable if he didn't think about this.
Who? Sorry, didn't...
Stephen
Stephen King. Yeah, Stephen King. Yeah. He just was on booze and cocaine writing shit, and he was recognizable for that. And as the Joe Rogan says, I recently listened to a episode of him. He constantly goes back to Stephen King, and he's saying like, yeah, if Stephen King wasn't on alcohol and cocaine, we probably wouldn't get all those great stories from him. Yeah. So, yeah. But that's the creative part of the game dev industry that I really love.
Yeah.
I'm still looking at the game dev through my rose tinted glasses. We'll see when that spell will be broken. I'm not sure. I don't know if it will ever be, or maybe it's just around the corner. I don't know. Getting money for a game, that's hard.
Yes,
that's not easy.
yes,
It
it's
doesn't
true.
come from the clouds. So
And nowadays,
you have to work for that.
And nowadays, when the engines are so affordable for a lot of people, and there is
The competition becomes...
yes, competition grows, and you know, like business development manager, he reviews like thousands of games per year, and why your game should be this one
to invest and
yes,
spend time.
yes,
First is
yes,
to spend time on.
to spend time and then to invest because it 2000 games that they looking for, then 200 games that they maybe trying to thinking about to work, then it's 50 games that they are speaking to.
I talked to guy on the conference, K.A. Peterson from Fireshine Games. He told me they have like 3,000 games per year that they look into, and they will end up talking to like more maybe 50 or 60 developers about the process or about going to the next step, but not. It's not like 50, 60 games published, but just getting into talks.
And every
3,000.
Every publisher have their opinion of what games they should look for, and it's hard. It is hard to imagine how many games they just sit. And just throw from their side.
Yeah, of course, because probably a lot of games are shit. Probably. And it depends on what stage of your project are you approaching the publisher.
Yeah,
you cannot approach a publisher with an idea. I've talked to publishers with an idea.
Yeah,
they like the idea, but that kind of conversation ends with, okay, call us when you have a playable that we can play. So and then what the playable should be.
After they look at your playable, they tell you, okay, let's talk after the vertical slice.
Yeah, exactly. Because they need to see the art.
Yes.
They need to see your vision.
They need to understand how to sell your game.
Yeah, exactly. What the game will be.
Yeah. And you know, the publishers are mainly the marketing persons. They need to understand how to sell your game, what case-selling features it has, how to build the advertisement for it.
Unique selling points.
Yes, unique selling points. Yes.
It's a tough job on their part also.
Yeah,
and they have the money that they need to be responsible for. They have money, they have access to money. They don't have money, they have access to money.
Yes.
And that's the game, basically. You just have to convince someone that your game is the shit. That is the game they need to put their money in. So, and it's a difficult thing, especially as you said, the democratization of gaming engines is great.
Availability of tools.
Yeah, but it also means that a lot of more games will be made.
Yeah, and it means that your game should really stood out.
Yeah, stick out from the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the question is, how do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And from what I can see at this point, I think the art style is the thing that can elevate indie from the crowd. Because if you go to, I don't know, AAA like Unreal Engine 5, great looking game, now everybody can do that in some form or another. You know, the engine allows you to. You have the free assets to use.
It's easy. It's easy to fool people that you are a big studio.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to fruition, when it comes to creating all that assets, then are you able to do that?
Yes.
So I think that the art style is something that can that's definitely what indies can spend time on. And
to stand above
the crowd.
Yes.
Yeah, because art style as it nature is unique every time.
Yes.
And you have an artist that just cannot produce the same shit as another before him. So just use the artists to create stuff from scratch, not use AI and stuff like that, because that's the AI is informed by the existing artists. So
it's a hard point because then after this point you have Vampire Survivor game.
yeah.
That create the whole genre, and everyone now creating Vampire Survivor games. So gameplay is matters too, and how this gameplay feels because we are making games, and art style is one side of a coin, the story another, and also you have a gameplay.
It's a sum of all parts basically.
Yes.
And that mix, I mean, there's no recipe how to make a great game, and that's what this podcast is all about. At the start of each episode I say this podcast that tries to understand what it takes to create a game, publish it, and make it successful.
Yeah,
it's totally three different things. It's easy to create a game, but then you have to publish it, and then after that how it becomes successful.
Yes,
it's a whole three different beats. So
game dev is hard.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I love this podcast.
Think twice.
Think twice, yeah, exactly. And that's why we take so much time for in each episode to unpack the person that's a guest, to understand what it makes you tick. Why have you decided there's much smarter ways to make money?
Yeah.
Much easier ways to make money.
Really.
Yeah, but people that are in game dev, especially indies, you must have some pressure building inside of you that makes you do this. That this is your, your expression, artistic, ideological, whatever it is, to express the way to express yourself through a game. And no other industry allows that, except maybe film and books.
I think I have this conversation before that when we talk about the great games and how to create these, and I also heard this point about making a cool art style. It will help you to create a great game that will be published well and be successful. But then I realized that you can generalize this idea to you need to understand how to pitch your game. So, and the pitch may be the most important part of the understanding how to create a great game. So when you figure out what a pitch can, how to make a great pitch with art, or maybe with just words, or maybe with some other stuff, when you learn how to make a great pitch of your game and to tell other people why this game is cool, this is the moment when you sell it.
Yeah, but also one of the important parts of the pitch, from what I understood, I also had a chance on White Nights conference to pitch my game to
Mhm.
4 people, to 4 developers, to 4 publishers.
Mhm.
Uh, I asked them honestly after the fact, after I pitched to them, can you please rate my pitch? Help me improve it.
Mhm.
Tell me where the downsides were. And all 4 of them were like, it was okay. It was really cool. You presented with passion. You presented the facts, what the story is, where the project is, how much money you need, what time it will take, and who the team is. And
Yeah.
that's the most important part.
Mhm.
Who will create this game? Because
Mhm.
the ideas come and go. There are like millions of
Yes,
ideas, but
yes.
execution of an
It
idea
matters,
is the key.
yes.
That's what matters.
Yeah. And pitch. It's not like pitching to investor or publisher. It's more general idea of
The
how.
passion behind the project.
Yes, because there is a Twitter account that called Pitch a Game, and they so they drive this what it's called performance. So they use hashtag Pitch a Game, and they start an event on summer and autumn, I believe, when all indie developers share their tweets with image or video, a short video, and a description of their game, and add the hashtag Pitch a Game. So they try to learn people how to share their games to other audiences, and this is a very good endeavor because people pitches their games at very different stages, from concepts to the ready game. And sometimes concepts gain more attention from the audience than complete games. And so this is also an art to present a game, and maybe it's the most important one. And you need to start to master this art the earliest you can. So first time you pitch your game, it's to yourself actually. Then you pitch your game to other to your associates who will develop it with you, and then you pitch to your parents,
friends, families.
Yes, friends, families, to your maybe community, to publishers, and so on, so on, so on.
Yeah.
And publishers knows how to pitch your game to the wider audience, and if you will master their arts of pitching your game to a wider audience, maybe you don't need a publisher.
Yeah. Well, that's a definitely discussion to be had about going with a publisher or not. I mean, okay, publisher can give you money. That makes sense. Okay, that's cool. You get some revenue share and that's it. But what the publisher, a good publisher, should bring to the table is their expertise in the field, their databases of statistics for all kind of various games they did and the games they have data on, and the experience of publishing that amount of games they already did publish, and the cooperation with the various developers, how they communicate with them. I mean, a publisher can bring also they know who to pitch to. They have access to media. They know how the streamers, the platforms and stuff like that. They can help you with porting to other platforms, with localization. So there's a lot of stuff a publisher can do for you.
Actually, publishers don't create it to give you money for your game. Exactly. They create it for publish your game.
Exactly.
They take your game and bring it to wider audience, to other markets or other platforms.
Yeah, publishers had more sense in the time of not digital distribution, but physical distribution.
Yeah.
That's where the publishers actually came in.
Yeah.
To publish the game physically,
to to print the
discs, to print the boxes, to negotiate the deals with distributors and stuff like that. So they were basically distributors or publishers, call it what you like, but that's it. But now in the digital era of game distribution, they realize that they might be bullshitting people with the stuff they can do, because all the things they do, you can do it yourself, not that efficiently probably, but you can do a decent part of that on your own. But that's when they realized we need to offer something more, and that's when they started the funding of games. And they usually don't fund games from their own resources. They have access to funds. And
maybe the funds are better way to find the money if you need only money for the certain part of your production. But
there's a catch there. If you go to the fund, then you have to give them not the revenue share, but a stake in your company.
Yes, stake in the company.
And that's a big problem. And with the publisher, you don't have to do that.
Yes.
You go for a revenue share. And your IP, your everything remains your own. You don't give the stake in your company. You have your percentage that's there. And you have the revenue share, but that's for that game. And the idea of each studio is not to create one game and perish, but to continue making games.
Sure.
So you make a deal with the publisher, go for a revenue share, whatever it is. Usually the best way is to split it 50-50. First, the publisher recoups at certain, like maybe 90-10 or 80-20 percentage until they recoup their investment.
Sometimes it's 100%.
Maybe, sometimes, it goes that way also. But it also depends on the relationship between the developer and the publisher. Because if publisher is decent enough, they will give you some money, like 80-20 or 90-10% to continue maintaining the studio, not to go, release the game and then disappear and wait for money to come in and then start over. But as you selling your current game, you should be working on your next game. So that's the idea. And when that is done, then you just simply get that into that revenue share, and that's everything. Well,
it's more
and said on paper. It's pretty different and wild in actuality. Sometimes development studios don't deliver. There's also that they deliver subpar project, the game that's not what they marketed for, they asked for. So there's a lot of stuff to be done on both sides.
Of course. And to communicate with publishers, they the main thing to understand, they are not the magic pill that you sign with and you don't have problem. You just have another set of problems. And sometimes you just need to understand for yourself what you want at your stage of the project. Do you want just money? Maybe you go to bank and have some money. Maybe a small share of your company is good enough for you, because you want to create a company that then will be, you give some part of your company to the
investor.
To the investor, then you publish a game, start to communicate, to gather revenue, increase your company value, then to sell to the bigger investor maybe, and build a bigger company. So with publisher, you are on your own. And with investor, you maybe with investor that know how to build the business from your company.
Yeah, yeah.
So yes, so the 3 ways
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
to
Or
publish
go
to
to
yourself.
Kickstarter
Yes.
and get a loan to create the Kickstarter. Yeah, it's crazy. Um, yeah, well, everybody's looking for that money pot in publishers
Mm-hmm.
because at this point we've been convinced that publishers are that magic pill. There are some good stories, there are some extremely bad stories in the relationship between publishers and developers.
And also between investors and developers, like
Yeah.
like in Zaum, for example.
Zaum, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That story with Disco
Disco
Elysium.
Elysium, yeah, yeah.
So it's like in every business actually, and game development is very high risky business. So it should be certain investors that want to invest in game development because of the like games maybe, but it's a lot of risk, and you actually need to not to calculate.
It's a high risk but high reward
maybe
industry.
For indies, it may be not so highly rewarding.
Well, there are examples where indies skyrocketed.
It's like
Dungeon.
like for Steam, there is a table with statistics of Steam revenues, and it is like less than 10% of games not receive more than 100,000 of dollars in revenue. So, and less than 5% receive more than 1 million. So 95% of games receive less than $1 million, and like 90% of games receive less than $100,000, and the production value of a game may be much higher than 100Ks.
Yeah. So the percentage is like on like 1 to 2 to 3% of successful financially successful games.
Yes.
But then again, there's a lot of games that's being uploaded to Steam.
Yeah.
Most of them are not that good. So that table should be taken into consideration at where you create absolute amounts, or where you create a cutoff.
Yeah.
Where you say this game wasn't good enough, wasn't ready, and just take a relevant set of statistic data to work with. Yeah. Because if you take statistics on the entire catalog of Steam, it's there are dead games, the games that were created and never made, but games that were created a long time ago.
It's a lot of developers who,
for example, if you check King's Bounty: The Legend or Heroes of Might and Magic 3, these were games that were they had their peak much before Steam ever existed.
Yes.
So the figures you have there, that's not something you can work with. Also, you cannot work with games that are older than 2 years.
Yes. And it's also not taking into consideration different platforms.
Of course.
Instead of Steam, like consoles, like different stores. Because a lot of developers for different markets, not like USA or Europe, they go to alternative stores and sell their game there. Also, you can redeem some keys from Steam and sell them on other platforms. Yeah. And it also give you some revenue.
How many units were sold for free? How many units were sold on discounts?
Yeah.
So the statistics really varies, but somewhere I on a couple of times I found that a decent rule of thumb, which is by no means perfect at all, is like to use the number of reviews on a game. Multiply that with 50, and that's about the money that can be the amount of units sold. So if a game has 100 1,000 reviews, you multiply that by 50, that's 50,000 units sold. If the game is sold for $20, take it like $5 or $3,
Yeah.
and then you get around a decent figure. But there are outliers out there. Maybe the game was not successful on Steam, but was much successful on PlayStation or Epic, whatever. So it's statistically looked that this is the formula that can just give you a ballpark where the game stands in compared to other games.
Yeah, and this number 50 reviews per it changes with time.
Yeah.
And there is a services in the internet that can give you assumption on how much a game can earn actually. So yes.
Do you have any? Because there was some Steam Spy, but that's not working anymore.
Steam Game Stats, as I remember. I can give you the link.
You
actually, me with other indie devs that we meet on White Nights in St. Petersburg, we create a table with useful links for indie devs that every indie dev can use to find, list of publishers, calculators of revenues, something like that.
Oh, nice.
So we try to collect the database of useful tools for indie developer to find your way in this ocean of game development.
And if developers can provide the personalized data on the units sold and the genre and stuff like that, maybe that can because I know there were some polls in Canada that people did like 50 studios that provided their figures, the revenues, the units sold, all of that, and these figures are were then later used to calculate that 50x
number,
to have some relation to actual data that was reported and to see where that stands in on Steam or whatever. Because the Steam is the only platform that provides the number of reviews.
Yes, and for premium games, Steam is only source for the information because consoles didn't provide you at all. And mobile games, they have plenty of instruments to calculate.
They track everything.
And for premium games that are sold for money, it's not so many instruments. And when I started to dig into how to calculate what KPIs we should meet to make our game successful, oh gosh.
Then it comes to the fact that it's maybe easier and cheaper to create the game and publish it and see how much money you will get than to try to
calculate. Yes.
Only say that.
I start to ask my friends that have experience in game development, and they tell no one knows.
No one knows.
No one knows. And when you
only the developer and publisher know.
Yeah, and when investors or publishers asks you to make this profits and loss document and try to
it's not even you that knows the figures.
My friend tells me that everyone lies in this document.
Not because they want to lie, but
because they don't know. Because they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know. Because you have so much avenues to sell through, so many windows. Because you have Steam, you have Epic, you have GOG, you have PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Store, then other markets specific for Asia.
Yes.
Then if you sell it to CD keys websites, that's also a way to earn money.
And if you try to sell physical copies, it's in the whole new world.
Oh, that's a whole new world. Yeah,
yes.
that's. I don't know how many copies get destroyed, how many get stolen, how many rot in the basement of a store. So it's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's best, as we can find from this conversation, and usually it's from what I can see, it's a consensus that you can use this as a ballpark just to assess where you stand, which games you should compare with.
Yeah. And what benchmarks.
Yeah, what are the benchmarks to see how many units I should sell to become profitable.
Yeah.
That will also determine the selling price the minimal, of your game. But it also allows you to I read or heard anyway, something was like of course it's common sense. Never use the outliers as don't use World of Warcraft as
a reference.
Yeah. Don't use Darkest Dungeon as a reference.
Yeah.
Don't use the outliers. Use the middle of the of the stack games
and when you
those beneath them. And just say to yourself, I want my game not to be lesser than this.
Or you can also see other games that don't sell well.
Yeah.
Just to understand why.
Okay. Yeah.
So
and when you do, you understand that these games have a lot of problems with gameplay.
Yeah.
With bugs. Yeah. Not optimized storytelling or whatever. Because there's a lot of the game. The Disciples Liberation, that game, it has a lot of fucking problems. And it's like in RPG world, tactical RPG, it's one of the best games in that sense because there's not many games like that. So and when you compare to that, I'm certain that I can deliver much more than this game did. It only depends if I can achieve that level of polish that big of studio created. That's
as many different articles I read about this, market analysis and different benchmarks, how many wish lists, how to earn them, and so on. And they all come to the certain thought at the end: create a great game.
Yeah, exactly, and never settle for less.
Yeah,
that's the idea, because if you look at the games from this pristine standpoint of we are doing this from the love of game development, we want to create a great game.
Yes,
and we're not making a product that will earn money. We're creating an artwork that will eventually earn money.
Yes.
So if we're doing that, I don't understand. I know why it's a production hell. That's why. How can you publish a game that's not good?
Yes.
And there's a lot of games that are not good. It's a huge majority of that. And I just look at that and I'm like, I'm absolutely positive that I can create a game better than this one. I know I can. The question is, will I be able to do so? That's the big question. But I know how to make a better game than this. Yeah. That's definite. But then again, a success of a game is not only calculated by whether it's good or bad. It also depends on hype, on marketing, on all of those things. We have a great example of our indie game dev friend Vlada from Three Swords Studio. He's been in game dev. He worked at Blizzard as an intern, and he worked also in Ubisoft. And he's a great guy. There's two episodes of this in this podcast with him. So his story is that he wanted to create. He wanted to see what's the development process of what's the publishing process on Google Play. So you need to create a game and how that publishing goes. He wanted to see the pipeline, and then he decided, okay, I will create a game in 7 days and I will publish it, whatever. I'll just make it and I will publish it to see how to apply and how to proceed further.
Yeah.
And how do you get money back and stuff like that,
Mhm,
if you
mhm.
get any money.
Mhm.
So created, do you know, what's the name? Beyblade. Beyblade are like Japanese toy.
Mhm.
It's like chigra. We said chigra. It's the, how do you say it in English? My brain fogged.
What is the gameplay like?
It's a physical game.
Uh-huh.
You have a starter. You have this shit that you pull,
Uh-huh.
and then this rotates.
Oh, okay.
And when it stops rotating, it stops.
Uh-huh.
So you have two of them
Yeah, I
in an
understand.
arena, and then they
Collide with
rotate
that
and they collide, and then
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and which one bursts first because they're made to separate on impact, and which one separates first on impact is the loser. Okay, so that's Beyblade, physical game. There's also a cartoon, and there's also like official game for that and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, this is mechanic I can do. I will
Yeah.
create a game to these spinning discs rotate and they collide, and that's it. And he added a couple of mechanics, did it in Unity, and published it to the store. Never ever thinking about this game making any fucking money. It's a free game, so it's monetized through ads. So if anybody watches this, he will be able to, if anybody downloads and plays the game, he will be able to see a little bit of money, like a
Yeah.
dollar or two coming in, so to see if how to process that further. And the game was published and nothing. I mean, he did all he wanted to do. There was some small amount of money that
Yeah.
he can see and route back to his account, so he knows how the process works. And the game was there on the platform. But at some point, a couple of months later, a year, I don't know how much, there was a huge spike in Beyblade world in India because a new cartoon was published, or the new generation of toys. Because every year there's a new updated toy with new design and upgraded mechanics and whatever. And there's a spike in India for Beyblade, and his game becomes recommended because
As a similar one. Yeah.
as a similar one. And all of a sudden, he starts getting more money from the game that was there just as a trial.
Yeah.
So you never know.
It's
never
organic,
know.
you know.
It's really organic.
Yeah.
It won't be organic if you invest money
Yeah.
into marketing. Then
Yes.
it's not organic.
Yes, because all the stories I heard from the mobile world, it's about how to so they push marketing and they calculate how much this marketing costs per user against of the value this user gives.
CPI, cost
yes.
per install.
Yeah.
How much money, how much marketing money you need to invest to get one user.
Yes, and this is how mobile games actually works.
Exactly. And day
Yeah.
one retention, day three retention.
Yeah,
day five
they
retention.
start on KPIs, they track
Yeah.
them, they optimize them, and
And
that's
many
it.
good games gets thrown out
Yeah.
because they don't initially show great metrics. That's also a downside.
Yes, and this is how premium games didn't work actually, because premium games live 100% for organic, actually.
Yeah.
And you have initial marketing at the start of releasing your game, and then you exponentially drops.
Yeah.
So yes, and it's organic works better for premium games because they making communities, and these communities searching for great games.
Yeah, exactly. Because nobody wants to play a shitty game
Yeah.
and waste their time, because there's so many hours in a day and so many days in your life. So
Yes.
you have to be aware what you spend it on. Yeah, exactly.
And so many free hyper casual games that you can play for free.
Yeah, because the hyper casual games are the games that are played in the time that's not spent.
Yes.
because you do it when you have time to spend on that.
Yeah.
Well,
On a bus
that usually, yeah, but that usually, translates to eating up time that could be more smartly spent. But yeah, of course,
Yeah.
there's a creep there. A bit more beer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, we basically went through all lengths about the game dev and your project and all the stuff. But one interesting thing for me is the fact that you come from Siberia.
Yeah, from Siberia to Serbia.
Yeah, from Siberia to Serbia. Let me tell you a little anecdote about that.
Yeah.
I was in Istanbul, and when people ask me where you're from, I said from Serbia. Oh, Siberia, I know. Yeah, it's not Siberia, it's Serbia. Serbia? Serbia, Europe. Serbistan. Okay, so you say Serbistan in Siberia is Siberia. Okay, cool, thanks for that. Yeah, didn't know it. So yeah. Yeah, you come from Siberia. What's the name of the place?
Yes, I'm from the closed city. The closed because it has a border across the city, like city 17 in Half-Life.
Oh, nice.
And it's a small city, like 40,000 people. It's called Железногорск because it has
Iron Mountain.
Yes, Железо, it's iron mountain.
Gora.
Gora,
Mountain,
yeah. Железногорск. So it has a mountain that have a nuclear plant inside the mountain.
Crazy.
And the people who work there, they go to the train station, and this train drives them to the mountain.
Not like Half-Life.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah,
cheers to
thank
that.
you. So I, when I first played Half-Life, I think, oh, it's about my life.
Yeah. Nice. Crazy.
So all the nuclear plants in the city are closed already. They produced heat until 2008, I think, and they closed it also. And it's also only laboratories left in this facility. So they study some nuclear physics and so on. And the second facility for the town that forms it's a satellite facility.
Oh,
So
okay.
they built 70% of all the satellites for the country.
Cool.
In a small city.
Crazy, yeah, crazy.
So that's why I very love sci-fi. Maybe. I was,
definitely.
I was born in it, and I studied on a physics faculty, actually. So I am the master of informational technology in space geodesy.
Oh, space geodesy.
Yes, like working
Asteroids?
with geosatellites,
Okay.
calculating orbital mechanics for the asteroids. It was my master's
Thesis. Yeah.
It was my work.
Yeah.
A paper
Yeah.
that I.
The final paper.
Yes.
Yeah.
For my degree. Yes. So. Actually, my programmer there that we are working for the Drake. Initially, he helped me to make this this work
Thesis.
we create the application on Unity to draw the orbits of the asteroids.
Oh.
So. The university I studied in, they learn for the orbital mechanics of asteroids and seeking for the asteroids that can potentially hit the Earth. So they make this probability analysis on the orbits, and in this software we draw the orbits and the particles probability particles of this asteroid. So you don't know exactly where this.
But the range.
Yes,
where it can go.
because the observations are not
Exact.
not exact. Yes, you have this delta in its position, and with time you calculate with different models. These different particles separate from each other, and one of the particle can potentially hit the Earth.
Yeah. It's crazy. And there's like the Wikipedia knowledge, 1.2 million asteroids in our asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter that are larger than 1 kilometer, and asteroids larger than 1 kilometer are planet killers, basically.
Yeah, but you don't have too much. You separate this asteroid, but by Earth, near Earth asteroids. It's called NEA. So they have orbits that can potentially intersect with the Earth orbit, and you have a lot of observations of those asteroids. And these planet killers asteroids are not potentially harmless to us.
They're stable
because they are visible to us, actually. And the problem with the asteroids that are not visible to us, that comes from sun, yes, and that are small enough not to be detected by our
networks.
Yes.
Yeah, the Chelyabinsk was coming from there, and
yes.
from what I read was it blasted 2 times. Once and then the other time, it had 2 explosions, 2 chunks of it. First one and the other, and each of those was like 500 kilotons nuclear explosion. Yes,
it was hard, and it was good that
it happened much.
It happened much on a high altitude, and it happened in the region where there was no big cities.
Yeah.
So big city, nearest big city of Chelyabinsk was. I think 100 or 200 kilometers nearby from the explosion, and the windows in the facilities were exploded.
There was like 1,000. Now there are some like news articles coming up remembering Chelyabinsk because it was 10 years ago. There was like 1,200, 1,200 injuries. Reported from basically much of that coming from the broken glass.
Yes, and it's not because of impact with the Earth, but explosion in Earth.
Very little particles, actually, pieces of the asteroid came down to the Earth.
We have the expedition. Actually, I was in their expedition to find the little pieces of the debris of this asteroid. So we. It was not university funded. So it was our endeavor to move there. So we gather with a small team of our friends and go there with our camps, move in the bank of that lake where the asteroid
there was
hits.
One big part decent chunk that went through the ice.
Yes. We have a camp on this lake, and then we go by foot to the track of this asteroid to find on the fields to find these little pieces. Yes.
You managed to find anything?
We find something. I don't remember if it were confirmed as particles, but it was fun because people who managed us together, they went sick after we came.
Crazy.
And they all 2 or 3 days of our trying to of our expedition, they lie in this camp.
So you were on your own.
Yeah.
Basically. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, because at that point, it was pretty lucky that was not a metallic asteroid. It was
it has some metallic
rock.
parts because we searched it with magnets.
Okay.
Yeah, and with magnets we were able to find these little pieces.
Oh, really? But it was a rocky asteroid.
Yes, rocky with some iron parts, and all the rocks it disappears and metallic parts.
But the real problem are basically the metallic asteroids that can endure the pressures of entering the atmosphere, and they can punch through the atmosphere and basically hit the Earth.
But maybe
in a pretty solid chunks.
Maybe this impact wouldn't harm too much because the waves that spread across the year they have more damaging capabilities than one that hits the Earth because it loses a lot of energy
until it reaches the ground.
Yes, because the density of the ground is higher, and it
and the atmosphere slows it pretty much. At that point, is getting denser and denser and denser as it reaches the ground.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
So yes, and
I'm really interested in that topic. So yeah, great to have somebody to talk to.
Yes, and I was used to go to these science conferences very much when I was in university, and this was the place where I met my wife, actually.
Oh, nice.
On one of that conferences where we have. They are on the winter on the observatory, near the observatory.
Oh, cool.
So we have like some presentations of our works and so on, and we live in this camp nearby with wooden buildings. And in winter there is an ice on the bathroom.
You can, as I said, you can ice skate there. Yeah.
So maybe this cold helps us with my wife to meet each other.
To huggle and get warm. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and she is now working also in game dev.
Oh, really?
Yes, she is a C++ programmer.
Oh, cool. So, Unreal Engine.
No, she works with CryEngine.
Yeah,
nice. And she working at My.Games-a that create Warface.
Yeah, cool. Nice.
So yeah, so here
she's working remotely, I guess.
Yes, she's working remotely. After I graduate in 2000. I don't remember. 12 or 13. Yeah. And she graduates in 2015. I'm in 14 and she's in 15, and then we decide to move to the west. So we grab our stuff, placed it into the car, and drive to Kaliningrad.
All the way from Siberia. Basically.
Yeah, from Siberia to Kaliningrad on a car.
It's like 5,000 kilometers.
4,500 kilometers. It took us 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Was it safe on the roads?
Yeah, it was fine. The most hard road was from Tomsk to Omsk.
1 letter difference.
1 letter difference, but 1,000 kilometer difference. And we do it single day. So we
1,000 kilometers on a bad road in a
it is a fine road.
It's fine road.
Yes, it's how this.
It's just long
highway.
And straight.
It's a highway. It has some curvaces and so on.
Cool.
And there is some places where there is no villages around you for like 50 kilometers. You just have a forest. And fields nearby.
And if your car breaks down, it's a problem.
And I was figuring out whether I will have enough of fuel to pass this way until the next fill-up station. So, and in the.
What kind of car did you drive?
It's Kia Ceed.
Kia Ceed? Okay,
Yeah.
decent car.
Yeah,
Cool,
decent car.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So in the Drake, we have our map, and I want to bring this road adventure into the game.
There you go. That's the creative spirit.
Yes, yes, and
Yeah.
that's why we have resource management. You have a rover to flee
Travel.
the pursue. Yeah.
Great.
So yes, and we lived in Kaliningrad for 6 years. We have a baby, and because we both in game dev, and game dev should be worldwide.
Yeah.
So we're looking for the place where we can continue to work.
Cool.
So in Serbia,
You ended up in Novi Sad?
yes, we
basically?
ended up in Novi Sad, and it looks very similar to Kaliningrad,
Cool.
except of the language, of course.
Of course, yeah, of course.
So yeah, because in Kaliningrad we have the the merge of these different cultures in architecture.
No, okay.
Because it was Königsberg, German city Königsberg, that right now the enclave for the country, and it has a lot of German buildings, pretty old, like from
So the former name, the one of the names of the city was in
yes,
that time Königsberg.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
after
Kingstown,
the
yeah.
Second World War, they just moved all the Germans back to Germany. And they are not completely Germans. They are
Mixed
Prussians.
Prussians, yeah.
Yeah, they moved locals to the different region, and they colonized it.
yeah.
So yeah, so they build a lot of Soviet buildings. So we have this.
Yeah, you have the mix.
Yeah, we have the
And
mix.
it's also here.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a mix, yeah.
Yeah, and when I see Novi Sad, it's
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Yeah, well, the part of the Belgrade called Zemun, which is in the direction of Novi Sad, also has this mix of architecture.
Yeah.
That's pretty similar to Novi Sad and
Mhm.
the Vojvodina region. It's cool. That mix is like, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Melange, as they say. Yeah. So in Novi Sad, you work remotely. You're freelancing and
yes.
working on your game.
Yes. I work remotely and for my game, and my wife work remotely for
her
job,
company. Yeah.
And as I heard,
Will she help you on the project?
No.
But if you go to Unreal Engine, she might.
She helped me with great advices.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So she is also a great fan of RPGs and so on.
Great. You play some tabletops?
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
And her company, they also, as I heard, they will have the business unit here in Serbia also.
Oh, nice. My.Games is a pretty big company.
So
I should have. I tried to book a meeting with somebody from My.Games on the White Nights conference, but they weren't able to decline the meeting. But
this information comes recently, just after the White Nights, and if you've seen the Panzerdog company on the White Nights, they.
What?
Company called Panzerdog, and they create game called Tactical.
Tactical.
Yes.
Okay.
They are
Adam that was playing your game, the big
Yeah.
bald guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He told me, man, you have to come here and try the game. Great. That's how we met, basically, thanks to Adam. And then again, he also told me at that spot to install Tactical.
So because Tactical, it is also the top-down shooter. but mobile and free to play. And the company, the sponsor the company, they are part of the My.Games.
Okay.
So yeah.
It has no connection to the World of Tanks?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's fine.
And they moved their company here also to maintain their business. And the My.Games will be here too.
Cool. Nice.
So
Nice. Yeah. The plot thickens.
yeah.
Here in Serbia, it's a pretty interesting landscape of game dev. There are big companies, there are small indies, and there's a lot of international companies coming here. It's really great time to be in game dev here in Serbia.
Yeah.
At least it's interesting. There's a lot of events, a lot of community hangouts, meetings, stuff like that. Lot to learn. You can follow the SGA, Serbian Gaming Association.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard
There,
about
at the end of the last year, in 2022,
that.
there was a lot of events that SGA organized that were pretty great. I went to Production Academy, where we had a lot of people from studios here in Serbia, Medhead Games, Ubisoft Belgrade, Nordius. It was Play Studios also. It was pretty, interesting to. I still consider myself someone as an outsider in the industry. I am doing this podcast, but my experience is like I'm working on my game, and that's it now.
Yeah.
By myself. So I'm trying to now to find some people to help me with the project. We'll see how that goes until I get funding, so I can expand. We'll see if that ever happens. But it's the community is really great, and all the big studios, they want to chip in, to say they want to provide education, knowledge. There's also three lateral company based in Novom Sadu that's now part of Epic Games. Three lateral created the MetaHumans.
Oh yeah.
They created that for their own purpose, and then they were bought out by Epic Games, and then MetaHuman was added to Unreal Engine.
It's a lot of potential.
Yeah, a lot of potential. Now that we have a lot of people from Russia coming here, I think this is a beautiful time to create that crazy mix of cultures and interests. I mean, your story coming on, man, coming from Sibiru and all that. It's like, to me, it's like, fantasy world,
It deserves a book that will be called From Siberia to Serbia.
Exactly. Yeah, or a game.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm not shy at all.
Yeah, of course, you shouldn't be. Yeah, you shouldn't be. That's great. That's beautiful. Yeah, nice. How far is Željezna Gora? Željezna far from Moscow?
4,500.
Okay, so that's
something like that.
Yeah.
4 or 4.5. I don't remember exactly, but it is huge.
Yeah, it's really far.
No.
And how far is to far end to
Kamchatka. Another 4,000.
Yeah, so it's like 10,000.
So Železnogorsk somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. I told you my friend was in Surgut. I remember when I looked at the map of Russia, Surgut was somewhere in the middle, a bit closer to Moscow, if I remember correctly. But it's like you take all of that land, and it's like, damn, it's huge. It's huge. Yeah. And the population of Siberia is not that much compared to the vastness of the region.
When I were studying in Tomsk, where the university is, I used to travel to my hometown, and it was 800 kilometers from one town to another, and I traveled there like one time per 3 months.
What? Once in 3 months.
Once in 3 months,
okay.
like
Yeah,
800 kilometers.
Yeah.
And when I bought a car, I make it on a car. So 800 kilometers in per one shot.
Oh yeah.
It's like 8 hours of traveling.
Yeah. I used to drive even more when we go to snowboarding in France. It was like, I remember driving from Belgrade to Milan in Italy. It's like 1,080 kilometers, something like that, in one stretch. And too much. And it's really too much.
And you drive through how many? 5 or 4 countries?
It's really intense.
And a lot of cities, yes.
Yeah, from Belgrade to Zagreb, it's super easy, but it's not that crowded. Not of much lorries, the big trucks and stuff like that. Usually just cars. If it's a season of vacations, then a lot of people coming from Germany traveling to Turkey and Bulgaria and Serbia and Romania. So it might get crowded, but for the winter vacations, not that much. So it's easy to. It's pretty straight. It's long and boring. It's like 400 kilometers stretch, but it's easy to drive if you're rested enough. You just put some good music. If you have some friends, you talk, and it's just straight ahead. And then you go to Rijeka, and then you go to Slovenia, then to Trieste, the Italy, and then you go to Venice, and then you hook into the hell of the west of the northern Italy, because this the highway that connects Venice and Milan is like, I don't know how many tracks they have, like 4 tracks in one direction. So like it's huge and it's crowded. Always. And that's the moment when you're the most tired, and that's the moment where you need the most concentration. It's like everybody wants to attack you. Italians drive like crazy. When you're in Italy, you have to drive like Italian, because if you're not going anywhere. So you have to jump into that mode. Full tired, and it's like Star Wars fight. I mean, it's crazy. I love it. I mean, but at the end of the road, I'm like, okay, I'm done for the day. I'm going to sleep. I'll give me some beer and that's it. So I believe it's not that tense
from
traveling on that part.
From Tomsk to Zheleznogorsk, it is 3 big cities and some 10 or 12 villages. Villages, just.
Is it a highway or is it a local?
It is a highway with one road. So you need to how it is.
When you want to overtake, you have to go into the direction. It's not a full highway that's separated with. Okay. So with a stopping lane, 2 lanes in the middle.
And it is hard at winter, because these big trucks, they generate a lot of snow behind and you can see anything, and you go to the other side of the road.
When you want to overtake them,
you see another car going to you, and you jump back.
Yeah, that's insane. I used to once I drove a car from Novi Sadu to Belgrade. It was rain. And the highway was not so well. It wasn't good enough. It had tire tracks in the middle lane where the trucks go. So in the summer, the heavy trucks, because our people don't invest a lot. They invest, but they take it into their own pockets, money for the highways. So the mix of the road is not that. It's too soft. So in the summertime,
and because of
heavy trucks and the sun and everything, they generate these tire tracks in the middle lane. So these tire tracks fill with water when it's raining, and it's when you go with your car into those tracks, you aquaplane. So you're not driving on the hard surface, you're driving on water, and that's when your car goes like this. It's extremely dangerous at high speed. So you have to drive slowly if you're in the middle lane. If you go to the left lane, the fast lane, it's okay. But the problem is the truck that drives through those tire track, he's too heavy.
Yeah.
He's not aquaplaning. He's pushing all that water out. But he pushes it to the side.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to overtake the truck. It's a huge one, the long one. So he has 3 wheels on the end, and then 2 wheels and the one. So all of those wheels are pushing water from that tire track
lane
onto me. So I go through the first 3. I don't see anything. It's like a submarine. It's literally, I have my wipers at the full speed. Nothing happens. It's like a bucket of water, you know. And I drive, and I don't see anything. I just remember where the end of the border was. I'm driving, not seeing anything. I could also close my eyes. It's the same. And then I pass that. Okay, cool. I'm at the half of the truck. So the next 2 wheels comes in, and the one in the front, and then all the rain that the truck moves away, and it all comes here. I literally almost hit the truck, because once my windshield went through the barrier of water, I was like this next to the truck.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Jesus.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Bullshit.
One time
I shouldn't be overtaking the truck.
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
the moral of the story.
One time I have like 3 or 4 trucks in a snowfall, and I need to overcome all 4 of them.
All of them.
Yeah, and it was very hard.
You had to jump between
between them
if they let you.
Yeah. They letting you because it is a culture on this highway. Because they are slow, and you need to
overtake them.
Yes. Yeah. And I have actually a car accident on this road, and this exact road between Tomsk and Zheleznogorsk. Yes, and when I come to police to take again my driving license, they showed me the pictures of how people crashed on this road, and the main reasons was the alcohol, first one. And the second one was trying to overtake the big truck. So this is the 2 main reasons why people are dying there.
Yeah, we still have that, but now we have the highway, proper highway. But this was the connection between Belgrade, Čačak, and Užice, the city, Magistrala, as we call it. It's a local road, 2 lanes, and that's it. And it was the main artery of the traffic between big centers in Serbia. And lot of deaths on that. Exactly. Speeding, drinking, and overtaking buses or trucks. You just cannot see anything, and people always rushing.
Yeah, it's like that.
So
it's
it's a long ride.
It's a lot of stories Serbia, from rides. Yes, and this is the thing that you know, when you create a game, you try to connect all your experience.
Exactly. That's in the screenwriting for film. What they teach, write what you know. Write from your own experience, because your experience is
it's unique.
Exactly. Yes. Nobody has that except you. That's beautiful. One thing I didn't ask you, your team. How many people? What are the roles? How do you organize
most of them? It's a freelancers like me. So because I work for different projects, and I meet a lot of different peoples.
Okay.
A lot of different people.
Okay. We understand each other.
It's almost 2 hours, and my language.
It's not almost. It's more than. It's almost 3 hours. I think.
It is like 5 or 6 people who working on a project constantly.
Okay.
And
But not in a full-time capacity.
not in a full-time capacity,
Yeah.
but like it is me, my programmer, the artist. She is a very great artist. She drew for Warhammer Total War. And
Yeah, you brought me the poster for the game.
Yeah.
That's her art.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
yeah.
I'll have it. I'll have it here
somewhere.
somewhere. I have to put it in the frame. It'll be in the studio definitely.
She draw cool characters for our game, and we also have a music composer. Because it is a space western, so we need this thick atmosphere. And he's a great guitarist. He play for the band back in Tomsk.
Cool.
We meet.
What kind of music? The band was?
He played jazzy, something
cool.
like that. It was very cool. And he's a great professional, and now he also in game dev, and he's permanent work for tactical for Panzer
For tactical.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Our people everywhere. Also, we have a level designer that helps us. He making a lot of different games and helps us to create levels to build them up. It's and different people for 3D art, for 2D art, for text editing, for text translation.
Translation to what, like localization?
To English, actually. Just to make a demo, we
okay. To properly sort it in English. Yeah,
yes.
Like a editor, basically.
So it's 5-6 people that working constantly, and like 10 people who I ask to join when we need content.
Well, that's a serious project.
Yes.
A lot of people involved. A lot of people decided to give their time for free. Not everybody for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
We invest some of our own money to
To
we
certain
don't
roles,
we don't want to people make everything for free.
Exactly.
We want to
Certainly.
give them something to eat.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The rice plate.
Yeah, exactly. And the rice bowl. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But that's the way to do it, basically. Yeah. Cool. So.
So I'm very grateful for them, for their work. They are very great people, and I'm happy to see these people who, who join me with this idea of making something creative to express themselves in this game.
Exactly, because you have your own idea and vision that you want to implement, but every input that's coming from any other person will inform the game. In some way. Yeah, that's great.
And because you can't make everything by your own, because you have a limited time.
Yeah, it's not.
So and the more things you try to achieve, the less time you have on each part. So the less, the worse it will be.
Yeah.
Exactly. The more time you invest on one part, the better it became. So it's like 10,000 hours rule.
Yeah, exactly.
To make
exactly.
to become a master of something.
Master of anything. Yeah. And 10,000 hours is like 5 years of constant work on something.
So yes, and when I go to, for example, for the Evgenia, it's an artist, I tell him, we're making a space western. I know how it should be.
Exactly.
And she drew characters that fits in this universe perfectly.
The poster is the really the mix of the things I would love to have in my own game, but it goes also into that Western.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like Mandalorian one or Mad Max.
Exactly. Yeah, that's I also love that, but I'm more informed by the militarist side of things. So I'm pushing in that a bit modern in that sense, but also I want to have the freedom of the Western, the frontier, the place where there are rules, but there's no one to check if you follow them. So that's the vibe I try to play. But yeah, that's really. I'm looking forward to the game. Really.
I'm looking forward for your game.
Ah, well, it's a long way to go for my game, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
At least I see the potential that not.
yeah. That's it. Well, it's
an idea.
Well, you know, it's King's Bounty in space, so what's not to like?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you.
It was a beautiful conversation. We're definitely stay in touch. I told you can come to Belgrade. You can come. We'll also have a meetups in Novi Sad with game dev crews. So I'll call you for that.
And I'll send you all the links.
All the links. I will put them in the description of this episode.
And it will be cool to figure out how to create this database of of helping advices for indies, because it's something that matters.
It's a startup, basically, that can be financed by someone.
Maybe.
But it's a great idea to have as a database for indie devs. That's what it is.
It is something. Some databases already existed, and no one
pulled them in altogether and cross.
Someone pulled it in, but no one tells us no to do another one.
Yeah.
The more they are on the web, the easier for the young devs.
You'll take information from one, from the other, from the next one, and you can cross examine or not, and just spend the time making your own game.
Yeah.
That's also one of the things.
So it's cool. I hope that everyone who listens up will create a great game.
I really hope so. That's the idea of this podcast, but and also the idea to pull people from other branches, from other industries into game dev.
Yeah.
Because I believe that if you have something creative to contribute to the process, come in, do it. That's the idea.
Great games.
Yeah. Great games and great game dev stories. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll talk again, basically, whenever you have any significant update about the game. You're always welcome to come. So, yeah.
Super.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.